there. Thanks for joining the HR Advantage team for another edition of HR Coffee Talks. This is a way for us to reach out to our clients and our friends and our business partners to share information about the HR world and what's happening today in HR. So joining us this morning are our advisors, Lynette Weatherford and Candida Arvizu. And we've been talking recently about the implications of an increase in remote workers. And so we've had some questions from our clients regarding work comp and how that applies to remote work situations. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Candida Arvizu, and she's going to tell us a little bit about questions related to remote work and employee working at home with having a work comp coverage. So Candida, take it away.
Well, we have a lot more people working from home now, and so the question comes up, and I think a lot of employers are concerned, how does that play into workers' comp? Because obviously anything can happen even in the home environment. So when would that be considered workers' comp, and when would it be considered the employee's own negligence and on their own time? And how do you differentiate the two? And I think what you need to know as an employer is that the central issue there is whether the employee was doing work for pay or compensation in the home at the time of the illness or injury, and if it's directly related to the performance of that work versus the general home environment or the setting that they're in. And OSHA even gives some great examples of this. For example, if an employee drops a box of work documents and injures their foot, but they're at home, the case is considered work-related because they're performing work in the course of, and in the course of doing that, they got injured. If their fingernail is punctured by a needle from a sewing machine and they're doing garment work from home, is another example they gave. And if it becomes infected and requires medical treatment, then that sort of injury would be considered work-related. But let's say, and this is a really big one, we've all seen our kids and our dogs popping into the Zoom meeting, so we know we're working in a home environment. What happens if an employee is rushing to get a work-related call, trips over the family dog, and injures himself that way? Is that considered work-related, or would be covered by workers' comp, or is that related to the home environment? What do you guys think?
I would have to say, because it's a family dog, it's not necessarily work related, and kind of on the employee to take care of that obstacle, perhaps. Am I right?
Right. Ding, ding, ding. You got that. Because that dog would not have been there in the work environment. So that's a feature of the home environment that caused the accident, not running to get the phone. If they'd been running to get the phone at the office, there wouldn't have been a dog there to trip over, is I think the line of thinking. So let me give you another one. What if there's faulty wiring in the home and something short circuits, a burst of flame comes out, injures the employee, then what? Is that workers' comp, or is that home environment?
To be the home environment, I would assume.
Right, it's a faulty wiring of the home, so it's not really related to the performance of work generally. So those are some examples we got from OSHA, and I thought they were really timely right now. They're baked right in there to the regulations, so I thought it was good to share that. And I think related to that, there comes up another question. There was a case recently where somebody had to go into their office on a snow day. Lynette, tell us about that one. I know you're.
Yeah. We've had that come up as well. And a lot depends on if this is the normal course of, commuting to work, or whatever. Generally, that doesn't, necessarily fall under workers' comp. If they've hit the workplace premises or what have you, and it's out of the course of duty, it could be obviously questionable. I would still have an incident report, and especially if it's a slip or a fall, it's at work. They were coming to work, whether or not they're clocked in or not, they're still there for work purposes. And filing that incident report, and even letting workers' comp, that process kind of take the natural course of action, could definitely be considered under workers' comp. Would you agree with that? That's how that case kind of turned out, correct or no?
What happened was she had an accident on the way to work. So in this case, she hadn't even gotten to work.
Okay.
But here's the caveat that ordinarily this company allows people to work from home. It's a company called Dave's Electric, and they allow people to work from home on snow days. But this employee had to go in and get some documents signed, be there to visit with an auditor. And so ordinarily she would be able to be home on that snow day, but this was outside the regular course of duty. So it wasn't considered commuting, which is normally not covered by workers' comp. This was, she was on her way, you know, in the process of working for the employer. So
that's right. And I did see that too. And we've had one that was similar that actually kind of came in through us and we consulted on, and it was somebody that was on their way to work. It's icy and snowy. They had to, you know, be there. They weren't a telework employee. And it just happened to be, you know, the parking lot and everything was all, you know, needed some attention and slip and fall. So definitely want to assess that, you know, as well during the course of it. And, you know, as we were preparing, you know, for today's coffee talk, there's that coming and going rule, which, you know, as we're talking about teleworkers, hugely increase in that than we ever have before, and, you know, have become a little bit more accustomed to it. And, you know, the premise is, at least under Missouri, workers' comp and coming and going rule, if it's just normal course of commuting to work, or like if you know, need to be there or whatever, or going home, more than likely if you were involved in an auto accident, wouldn't be under Missouri workers' comp. However, let's just say you do work from home and you have a client call or running an errand for the purpose of work, going to the bank, going to the supply store, going to the post office or something like that, and involved in an auto accident, that potentially could be considered coverage under workers' comp. Obviously, we know how that goes with reporting and who's at fault. There's some investigative, so I don't want to just give that blanket, oh yeah, it's covered. There's a lot of details there, but potentially it could be, you know, so it's really good for employers to be mindful of that and really look that up. There is a coming and going rule under Missouri workers' comp. So that's a tidbit, you know, related to today's, you know, work environment with telework.
Well, we know that there's a lot that goes into the work comp process, and there's a lot of stones unturned as many employers have had to convert to remote work. And so thank you guys for addressing some of these questions that some employers never thought they would ever have to ask about. So if you're watching HR Coffee Talks today and this is helping you out, we hope it is. But if you have more questions, please reach out to HR Advantage. You can visit our website, hradvantageweb.net. Contact any one of us. We're happy to speak with you. Thanks for joining us today, and thanks to our advisors, and we will see you next time.